Glenn Cunningham, the record breaker from Kansas, gets on his mark.
7 years old, it's 12 degrees outside, and it's a one-room schoolhouse in Elkhart, Kansas. Now, Glenn Cunningham's brother Floyd hands him a can and he tells him to pour it on the kindling. But here's the thing, it's not kerosene, it's gasoline. The schoolhouse explodes, and tragically, Floyd dies 9 days later. And doctors tell Glenn's mother that he will never ever walk again. But here's the thing, from his hospital bed, legs wrapped in bandages, his brother dead, his own body destroyed, 7-year-old Glenn just simply says 4 words, I'll walk, I'll walk. Hi, I'm Ron Lewis, Chief Coaching Officer for Resilient Leadership. For 40 years, I've sat with leaders in their own explosions. Not quite as dramatic, but maybe it's the budget that collapses, the board betrayal, the diagnosis that rewrites everything. You see, this content comes from a curriculum that we use with teams, and we simply call it the Resilient Leader. Today, I'm going to give you just a small taste of that curriculum. But I'm not going to start with a framework. What I'm starting with is the part of Glenn's story that everybody seems to skip. And the reason is because it's the part that actually matters. You see, Cunningham became one of the greatest milers in American history. World records, Olympic silver in Berlin, the first man to actually win the Sullivan Award after nearly losing his legs. We love that part. We love the comeback. But between the hospital bed and the starting line, there were 2 years that nobody wants to talk about. 2 years of his parents massaging dead legs every day, fighting atrophy that Glenn couldn't fight by himself. 2 years of standing, collapsing, and standing again. No headlines, just Glenn, his parents, and the invisible work. Now, if you're a leader in crisis, you know this moment. You've had your explosion, and what comes next isn't a quick comeback. It's the unsexy middle. Here's what it looks like. 40 small one-on-ones with a team that's lost trust, not one big meeting. Rebuilding a board relationship, one call at a time. Setting a boundary with the donor whose money could actually solve your problems today. Coaching, even when every instinct says you don't have time to work. It's just nobody's applauding these kinds of things. It might not even produce a result for some 18 months. But that's Glenn's 2 years. And if you're in the hard middle, it's yours too. You see, we're addicted to fast feedback, quarterly numbers, board votes, and an answer today. But resilience runs on a slow feedback loop. You won't know if the daily work built anything until the next crisis hits. But here's the thing, when it hits, it's actually too late to start. Glenn's parents didn't know if the massages were working. So for 2 years, all they had was faith that invisible work would eventually become visible. And when it did, when Glenn stood, then walked, then ran, man, it looked like a miracle. It was 2 years of small, faithful, painful choices compounding in the dark. So if this is landing, if you see yourself in Glenn's 2 years, I'd love for you to hit subscribe because there's 11 more weeks of this curriculum coming. And here's the part that most of the versions of the story actually leave out. I just want you to get this. Glenn and his wife, Ruth, bought a ranch in Kansas. And then they began to foster kids from very hard places. Over 10,000 children came through that ranch. So a boy whose doctor said would never walk again spent the rest of his life fighting for kids who couldn't actually stand. The recovery just didn't save Glenn. It actually formed him. Your unsexy middle isn't just about you. Your team's watching how you handle pressure. Your organization will either absorb your anxiety or borrow your steadiness. So here's one thing that I'd love for you to try this week. Just 15 minutes. Take one blank page and at the top write this. This is what's true. List the facts of your crisis, no spin. And then halfway down that page, write this. This is what I can influence. Name the 5 to 10% that's actually yours. It'll feel smaller than you want, but write it down anyway. Then pick one action for the next 7 days. Not a plan, but one thing. You know, when a neighbor told Glenn's mother her son would never walk, she didn't argue. She said, well, I'm glad you told me. Now I know what I'm up against. That's acceptance. And it's where the unsexy middle begins. Man, if you would like more of this content, there's 2 weeks of the Resilient Leader curriculum that's free. The download link is in the description. And if you're in the hard middle right now, please subscribe. And I'll see you on the next video.